We're going to hear about SIA's Member and Leader Code of Conduct with a presentation from Peggy Gentile Van Meter. Currently serving on the SIA Board of Directors, Peggy is a devoted member of SI Cumberland County, New Jersey, and in the North Atlantic region. Please join me in welcoming Director Peggy.
Well, thank you, Lydia. I appreciate that. And also, I'd like to thank Libby. It was a really, enthusiastic and uplifting presentation that you gave. So thank you for that. Besides, I'm just thrilled to see so many members here at this third Leadership Roundtable. I started my journey with SIA Leadership Roundtable in 2023. And it was a pleasure to be a presenter for our third roundtable. I'm honored that I graduated with the first leadership program, fellows program last summer at our convention in Bellevue, Washington. What a wonderful experience being part of our convention planning team on the side too. A little bit before we begin, a little bit more that's not in my bio is that I was born and raised in a farming community here in South Jersey. And South Jersey has been my home for 69 years now. Jersey has had special meaning to me. I also have a winter home in Florida. I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't have to put up with the cold, although right now I understand it's cooler in Florida than it is here in New Jersey this afternoon. Traveling is one of the things I enjoy the most. I'm fortunate I visited several countries throughout Europe, and because of Soroptimist, I was able to travel to Japan, as well as I know many of you were there when I was there. We have a beautiful country here in the United States, and I've visited 35 states, but I'm looking forward to adding a few this summer. When I'm not traveling, I love to read historical novels. I'm a big fan of crime shows, and I enjoy social media very much. I have a son, a daughter, one granddaughter who's the princess, and 3 grandsons. One husband, only one husband, and my chocolate lab, Miss Sadie. Now, with that said, there's that saying about once a teacher, always a teacher. So I will begin what I hope will be an informed lesson of what we are doing with our Member and Leader Code of Conduct Implementation Task Force. I'd like to review the learning objectives for the session, which are, during the session, I will equip SIA members and leaders with a deep understanding, I hope, of the organization's code of conduct, emphasizing responsibility, respect, fairness, honesty, and leadership. Participants will explore values that guide behavior within SIA, discuss real-life scenarios, and learn how to navigate challenging situations while upholding the highest standards of conduct. A little reminder, if you have any questions, just put them in the question and answer line. And we're going to do our best to try to answer them. I will explain the core principles and expectations outlined in SIA's Member and Leader Code of Conduct. Use real-world case studies to identify appropriate responses to ethical dilemmas and conduct-related issues. Demonstrate how to model positive behavior and promote accountability within the SIA community. Before I share the Member and Leader Code of Conduct, I'd like to review the background of this work. We learned from past lapse member surveys that members were terminating their SIA membership at alarming rates due to lack of time, club operations, civility issues. Time is self-explanatory. Regarding club operations, members join SIA for our powerful mission and our dream programs. However, this is important. When they joined SIA, some clubs were not working on the dream programs. Additionally, other club operations issues were noted as they pertain to club meetings and planning. Regarding civility, members terminated their membership because they felt unwelcomed, unengaged, and treated poorly. SIA's Board of Directors tasked staff with developing member and leader code of conduct to address the civility issues in our organization. Over the past several years, we have surveyed members on what should be included in this code of conduct. And last July, the SIA's Board of Directors reviewed and approved it. More recently, we formed the Member and Leader Code of Conduct Implementation Task Force, of which I am the chair and which will be responsible for the following deliveries. Developing a training plan, including making some online training available. Defining a plan for governing the Member and Leader Code of Conduct. Developing a review cycle, very important, always go back, and process to ensure the code is kept current and relevant. And finally, rolling out the code of conduct that will include every member signing it. At this time, you're likely wondering about the timing of this work. We will be sharing a detailed timeline with all members shortly, and thank you for your patience as we work diligently to implement this important work. SIA's Member and Leader Code of Conduct is structured into 5 sections. The first being responsibility. Responsibility is our commitment to take ownership of the decisions that we make or fail to make, and actions we take to fail to take, and the consequences that may result. Respect. We heard a lot about that from Libby. Respect is our commitment to show high regard for ourselves, others, and the resources that are entrusted to us. These resources may include people, money, reputation, the safety of others, and informational resources. An environment of respect engenders trust, confidence, and performance. Excellence by fostering collaboration, an environment where diverse perspectives and views are encouraged and very much valued. Fairness. Fairness is our commitment to make decisions and act impartially and objectively. Our conduct must be free from competing self-interest, prejudice, and favoritism. Honesty. Honesty is our responsibility to understand the truth and act transparently in our communications and conduct. Leadership is a set of positive behaviors that help members align with SIA's mission, vision, core values, and strategic objectives. So let's take a closer look at each section while I summarize the content for you. Note, the following are summary statements of what appears in the code. Refer to the handout section of this meeting for the actual code. Respect. In summary, this section says that Seroptimists, we act in the best interest of the organization and those we serve. We keep our commitments, own our mistakes, and protect confidential information. We adhere to laws and policies, report unethical or illegal conduct, and never engage in or condone harmful behaviors such as theft, fraud, or slander. We hold ourselves and others accountable, reporting only with facts, cooperating with investigations, and protecting those who speak up. Next section is section 2, is respect. In summary, this section states that at Seroptimus, at Seroptimus, we lead with respect. We educate ourselves on what it truly means to be diverse, inclusive, equitable, because understanding builds stronger connections. We listen with the intent to understand, not just to reply. When conflicts arise, we address them directly or seek support from leadership when we need help navigating those tough conversations. Even when respect isn't returned, we choose to model it. We don't gossip or tear others down, and we speak up when we see that type of behavior. We negotiate in good faith and never use our position or expertise for personal gain. And because integrity, fairness, and respect are the foundations of how we work together. While the code does not explicitly address harassment, bullying, and other abusive behavior, this section encompasses them. This type of behavior is not respectful and will be addressed moving forward. Fairness. In summary, this section states that at Seroptimus, we believe in fairness, transparency, and trust. We strive to be open in all we do, regularly checking our objectivity and ensuring every member has equal access to opportunities. We are mindful of conflicts of interest and disclose them fully, because even the appearance of divided loyalties matters. When we serve Seroptimus, we put the organization first. We treat everyone with respect, regardless of gender, race, age, religion, disability, nationality, or sexual orientation. And we apply our rules fairly and consistently. That's how we build an inclusive, ethical, and trusted community. Honesty. In summary, this section states that at Seroptimus, truth matters. We seek to understand the facts and share accurate information, honesty, and on time. Even when the news is hard to hear, we speak openly and take responsibility without blaming others or taking credit that is not ours. We keep our promises, honor our commitments, and create a culture where people feel safe speaking their truth. We reject dishonesty in all forms because half-truths and silence can mislead just as much as a lie. By leading with honesty and integrity, we build trust, and the trust strengthens everything that we do. And leadership. In summary, this section states that at Seroptimist, we lead with respect and integrity. We use our authority thoughtfully, always within the boundaries set by our bylaws and procedures. No one acts alone. We act in alignment with our shared structure. We support the decisions of our elected leaders, taking time to understand the reasons behind them. And most importantly, we each play a part in creating a positive, respectful, and meaningful experience for every member. Because how we lead together collectively defines who we really are. So now that we have reviewed the code and how it came to be, let's work on a couple of case studies together. Now remember, please post your answers in the chat or question and answer section. Case study, the bypass vote. Respecting leadership decisions and authority. Here is the scenario. During a club meeting, a member's proposal wasn't selected. Frustrated, she begins messaging other members and posting on social media, urging them to ignore the group's decision and implement her idea anyway. Using your chat, please respond to the following. The first one, did the member uphold the code of conduct? Okay, and the no's are coming in. You'll all get an A. And in this instance, the member did not uphold the code of conduct. What should she have done differently? Give me a couple of ideas here. What should she have done just differently?
Lots of answers coming in.
Yes, I'm seeing them. I'm going to take up speed reading.
Sure.
These are really some really excellent answers.
I'll read aloud a few so we can interpret them. Let's see. Respect the idea chosen. Listen to the reasons why oops, it's going so fast.
I know.
Ask for feedback. Ask for reasons why the decision was made.
Mm-hmm. Some really good answers. If I may, based on some of the things that have been stated here, members should never undermine decisions. There's a difference between disagreeing and deliberately undermining a decision. What this member did wrong was to go on social media and ask other members to support a proposal that had not been approved. She could have personally, and somebody mentioned this, shared her thoughts with the club's leadership. While it may not have changed the decision, she has the right to express her concerns in a respectful manner. After this, she should agree to disagree, and move forward. so as not to create a rift. And that's where it begins often, which is very, very damaging. Now, how can we support decisions even when we disagree with them? Give me some ideas here.
Respect other people. Communicate with the club. Put yourself in their shoes. Seek to understand. Ask questions. Communicate with all parties. Respect the decision and seek to understand. Become a leader. Make it a learning experience. Start with clarity about the issue or situation that's coming up. Know that we're still working towards a common goal. When addressing the issue, even if you don't agree, you can reference the club that the club made the decision. Tone is everything in this approach.
Okay, if I may interject here. The first one that I saw that, and we don't always use it, is common sense. I like that one. And the other one was putting yourself in someone else's place and thinking what may have taken place. So, and in life we know this, that we're not always going to agree with every decision set forth by leadership. However, accepting them is a sign of maturity, professionalism, and commitment. We can work to understand the rationale by asking questions and trying to recognize the broader context and constraints that may be at play.
Hi, Peggy. Just 1 second. I'll have to interrupt. If we can get a Japanese interpreter off of mute, please. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Peggy.
Okay. Broader context or constraints that may be at play. We can focus on the mission to keep things moving toward a shared goal, even if the path isn't ideal. We can express disagreement respectfully and constructively, then accept the outcome gracefully. And these are just a few. And on a personal note, in my own club and being on the North Atlantic board, and even recently with the North Atlantic board, I proposed this bylaw change, and it did not pass. Two things. Number one, I didn't go sit in a corner and cry. Number two, I didn't get on the phone right away, my cell phone right away, and start complaining to everyone. You know what my attitude was, and it's always been this way. I didn't get it this time. There is nothing that's going to stop me from going along later and saying, okay, I'm going to try this again. By discussing things, maybe I missed something along the way. So open discussion, communication, and knowing that things don't always go the way we want them. I didn't get the red popsicle. I got the blue one. Okay, I can live with that. So let's go on to the next one. Proper use of authority. The overstep. A club officer reaches out to a community partner, providing direction on a project as if speaking on behalf of the club. The club board is unaware. The club board is unaware. And the partner believes these are official instructions from the club's leadership. So our discussion questions on that. The first one, where was authority misused in this situation?
She was being self-serving, not being inclusive. Officer overstepped. Reaching out before getting approval. The officer should have brought the idea to the board prior to approaching a partner. Going rogue. There was no communication with the board. Not inclusive. Voicing her views as those of the club. Officer needs some counseling quietly to understand her role better. Lack of honesty. Misused authority of being on the board. Miscommunication. Lack of understanding of authority.
I think all of them seem to be on the same path with this, with the same result, that the club officer or a club member should have engaged the board before representing the club and its interest. You know, going out into public, and I try to wear my pin all the time when I'm out in public to see if anybody knows what the S stands for. I just can't walk into a school system and say, hey, I want to do a Dream It Be It program. Okay. I have to go through protocol. I have to go through the procedures. So I think all of you seem to hit that, and you can't be self-serving and work as a team. What potential issues could arise from this type of action?
Reputation risk, financial or legal repercussions, liability, decreases trust, damage to image, distrust of club events, loss of members, overcommitting the club, misunderstanding. Members may think their opinions don't matter. Damage to relationship, trust of club.
All right, if I may, excellent points here. And I think probably a lot of us have seen this, but there could be financial or contractual implications for the club if this officer or member signs and agrees to anything that makes the club responsible. And several of you mentioned that. There could also be reputation or brand damage if the club cannot uphold any agreements made. Good points, on target. Now, how should the officer or member have handled the communication? Let's hear your suggestions here.
Should have presented the idea to the club first. bring it up to the board and have minutes to back the authority. Respect protocols. Have a written proposal to submit to club to get approval. Formal presentation. Follow your club protocol. Club officers should have a clear understanding and training about the limits of their authority and when, how, where they're authorized to represent the club.
Again, some really good suggestions here. First and foremost, the board officer should have engaged the broader board to determine if this is a partnership the club wants to engage in. Something that I have found that always works too. We all have agendas asked to be put on the agenda. Have it in writing. That way you're not going off script. When you go to present it, you have A, B, and C. This is what I'd like to propose. This is what I'm thinking. This would be the conclusion. By having it in writing, you're not getting off track. And the entire membership knows what's going and what's happening and what you were asking for. And the last one is called silent conflict. Conflict resolution and respectful behavior. Two members have an ongoing disagreement. One chooses not to address the issue directly or seek support. Instead, she makes negative comments to others, harming the other member's reputation. So, how did this violate the code of conduct?
Completely. Lack of respect. Gossiping is not permitted. Disrespectful. Disrespect and bullying. Not listening. Lack of respect. Self-serving. Totally unacceptable behavior.
Poor judgment. Okay, they all seem to be, we could connect the dots with your answers, which is great. I should make a chart of all of your answers. Making any kind of negative comment about a member that can harm them personally or their reputation is a form of harassment. And if it's a continuous behavior, it's bullying. And someone mentioned here in the thread, it's childish. So what would be a more constructive approach then?
Address the issue directly. Stay on task. Seek a mediator. Talk to the member personally. Communicate. Handle one-on-one. Ask club leadership for help. have a conversation with a third party present and address the issue, come to some agreements, and seek to understand one another. Raise the issue openly in a respectful, dignified, Soroptimist manner.
I like that one too. And basically, again, connecting the dots, addressing the conflict directly is recommended first and foremost. Don't sleep on, or sleeping on it's okay, but get to it as soon as you possibly can, because the longer you wait, the more you seize over something. So therefore, it's better to get it all out in the open as soon as possible. If a member feels uncomfortable addressing a conflict directly, they are encouraged to seek support and counsel, first and foremost, from the club president. So how can we encourage a respectful environment for handling conflict?
Show respect to our members. Talk it out calmly. Create a club working agreement that works with the code of conduct. Model respectful conduct. Perhaps bring the members together privately to discuss. Principles over personalities. Give each the chance to share their views without eye-rolling. Promote open and safe communication. Give space for all to speak up. Regularly review the code of conduct and do training such as we are doing right now.
Excellent comments. And again, your step number one is what we are doing now by setting clear expectations, by respectful behavior, by establishing a code of conduct. And next, we promote open and honest communication, encouraging members to speak up early and creating safe spaces. And there are others, but these would be my top two, along with something else. And you heard this probably at the presentation at your spring conferences. Eye contact. And I know it's hard with the screen. I'm thinking, are they seeing me, my eyes? When you're talking with someone, the best way to turn them off right away, where they think that you don't care or you're not listening, is two things. Looking away, and what irritates me, I'll be honest, is this. Yeah. Not good. They have to know, just like I have to know, and you have to know, that the person you're speaking with is listening to you. You don't even have to say anything until they have finished everything. And then that's the time to say, can we discuss this more? Can we look into some other areas here? There's always a way to be able to resolve. And silent conflicts, to me, are the worst, because you don't know what people are thinking. So keep an open mind, please. With that said, thank you for your participation in the case studies. I promise, as we develop future training, we'll work on more case studies together so that we all get comfortable and well-versed in the new code of conduct. I have one request of you before I close. Please wait for the launch of this code and do not develop or implement a code at your club or your region levels. For this to be effective, we all need to work in harmony for this. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to contact me Aisha, anyone at headquarters. They'll direct you to where you need to go.